You gonna be on with John?
Right.
No.
Okay. Just tell me when.
You on?
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Good News at Primetime. I am Sylvia Hayes, and we have a good show tonight. We're going to be talking about y'all's president who's sick and spreading his disease. And we're going to talk also about the voter suppression. You know, we got a lot of that going on. But before we get started, I have my co-host with me, Mr. Reggie Drummer. Hey, Reggie, how you doing?
What's up there, Miss Syria? What's the good news? Getting back into Atlanta. I'm on the road, but I couldn't resist. Anytime we get an opportunity to talk about our current celebrity president, 46 minus one, it's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, it is. He's just raising the red flag for a lot of people right now. Especially when he found out, he had the
Oh,
coronavirus,
yeah.
you know, and now, he's spread it around. That's it's so disheartening to hear him
Oh, yes.
do something like that. That is one selfish man. I'm gonna tell you the truth. He is so selfish. And all these
Well, I think never have we, never had we had a president that would just put his selfishness out there on you. One thing about this president, even a lot of the information, sharing it with people, in denial. They constantly tell us things that are not true. And people are finding out that these things are not true. He probably had that virus before the debate, you know,
yeah.
and he infected some people, all that. And then, so much stuff. Some people say he didn't never have it. He just used that as a piece to further advertise, market, and promote himself because he's been in the news over the last couple of days. So
Yeah. I mean,
jury's out.
I can't say where he didn't have it because they had to go helicopter him out, from White House to the hospital. So to me, something is going on. And then when he came out of the hospital, he
Yeah.
you could tell he was out of breath. He didn't look the healthiest right there. So something is going on with him. If he don't have the virus,
So,
he got something.
well, that's the big story. And then the media spin, especially when it comes down from his administration, it's like the virus. What can I do? I got to show strength. In his mindset, he can never show weakness. So by doing that, he's making all the stops. He said, I got to leave out the hospital. Now, it's a certain amount of people that think that that's a big thing. Oh, man, he beat the virus. He beat the virus. He can't just stop and just say, you know what? I thank God I survived. I hope that I don't infect nobody else. He still got to go out as though he's the superhero.
Yeah, but you know what?
Like Putin and what's the other guy from Korea?
Um,
Go
I
ahead.
don't know the other guy. John, somebody. I don't know, but he's not being a hero. He is he's
Well,
spreading it to everybody. That's the thing. He's not only is his Secret Service people are being affected, but his family members, other members of the White House. I mean, you ask me, the whole White House need to be contained in quarantine right now because he's spreading it to everybody. And a lot of people have gotten sick from it already, and I don't understand why he would hurt so many people trying to prove a point. I don't understand that at all.
Well, when you have a narcissistic egomaniac craving for attention, these are the things, when you look at the debate, how he handled himself, when you look at the town hall that Biden had last night, Donald Trump, by not having a real plan or any capabilities, he just has to keep something going. And this virus thing, I just came back from the virus. I beat it. Everybody else was crying. I had it. Okay? It's like a one-up. I always have to have something. I'm doing better than you. I always have to have something I'm good at that you can't do. And in his head, that's what he's doing. He's a hero in his own head, in his own mind.
Well, he hasn't beat the virus. After you get rid of it,
and his fan base, they believe that.
What now?
Makes sense.
What did you say, Reggie?
Well, we know that him to be in a better position. But if he's using this as a ploy to try to motivate his base or encourage other people to take the vaccine, because you see that he's saying all these new drugs, all these new procedures, and I was the first person to do it and successfully beat COVID-19. So there's a lot going on over there.
Yeah, he's going to be the first one. Done killed 211,000 people already, and he's still trying to show out and contaminating other people. Some of his staff members, his friend Herman Cain was killed from his rally, went to his rally, opened doors to everybody with no mask on. He got the virus and died. That should have been a wake-up call right there. To me, if I harm my friend, my colleague, somebody who supported me, I would take more precautionary measures to make sure nobody else get hurt. That's what I would do. But Trump is not doing that. He didn't give a flip about Herman Cain. He don't give a flip about all these other people. His press secretary has the virus now. A lot of other people have got it. And his drivers have to drive him around with this virus. He's contaminating them. So everybody needs to be in separated quarantine right now, because of him.
Well, that's why we have to protect ourselves at all times. One thing we'll find out, especially under this administration, because when you don't have, chaos and disorder, whatever it takes to get people's attention, whatever it takes to get people to be divisive, he's using all those maneuvers.
Yeah.
All those maneuvers. And a lot of people are falling for the okie doke, but guess what? A lot of people are waking up, and those folks are saying to them, hey, this doesn't make sense. We're not going to be a part of this. So he might be in for a surprise for the election on November 3rd. Maybe he's going for the sympathy vote. Maybe he will hope that people say, man, he beat COVID-19. That's, rather than focus on the things that you need to do to move the country forward, it's all about him. It's all about him.
It is. And the thing is, he's taking all this medicine. He's endangering his own life taking this medicine. And being as he's the president, how can you say no to the president? These doctors giving him this stuff, knowing it could be dangerous for him, it could cost his life, but he wants to take it. And I don't think that's cool either. But just because he takes this medicine doesn't mean he won't be able to spread it to everybody else, because everybody else is going to be getting it. And he just don't make sense. He's just a selfish man. So go ahead.
When you think about it, maybe he's the Pharaoh, we're the children, and this is the land. A lot of things that, if you think about the scripture, the Pharaoh kept doing what he wanted to do in spite of the people dying. Okay? A lot of people died following that Pharaoh. Okay? The Pharaoh really didn't care. Even when the Pharaoh led the people into the Red Sea, We can do that too. We can do that too. We got it beat. Well, the thing about this particular celebrity president, 46 minus one, hopefully one term, people have to start thinking. And it's not illegal yet to start thinking. Okay? We see a lot of fake news. We see a lot of just distractions. Even when they did the last debate, he never focused on nothing that dealt with anything that was pertinent to the. It was all personal attacks, all about me, all about me, all about me. Well, with that being said, people know, he's put out so much stuff and threw it in people's face about the military, calling them weak, don't know how they could do that, losers. He talked about poor people. He's insulted women. He's insulted most of the folk in the United States.
Yes,
So
he has.
the only thing he can do is throw a distraction in there. Okay, COVID-19, don't worry about it. I feel like I'm 20 years old. I never felt better. All this jargon just to move people to the point where they forget about everything else. And it's kind of hard. I feel sorry for the people.
Yeah, but my thing is with him calling people names and all of that kind of stuff, like the women, like how he just disrespected women and stuff. I don't understand how women can actually stand by him, knowing how he
Oh,
degraded women. I don't see it.
oh
How,
yeah, but they don't care.
yeah, apparently,
Mm-hmm.
and and to see those people out there at that hospital, the White House and stuff, standing by, supporting him, that's crazy. Ain't no way in the world you know that this man is purposely giving this virus to people. Then you're gonna stand there and still support him? There's
Well,
something wrong with your mind.
when you look at the doctors, I felt sorry for them. They look like puppets when they came out there with those white coats on. I think about 12 of them.
Yeah,
I just saw something on the internet. Puppets. All of them knew, and they couldn't say nothing. They couldn't say anything that was pertinent or relevant. All they could say was, I mean, these are doctors, professional people. So, but you know what? It's no different than not the. But when you think about it, anytime people have money and means, whether it be Michael Jackson, Prince, they just say, "I'm gonna do what I want to do. I need this. Get out of my way if you can't get it for me. I don't need nobody around me that can't do what I need them to do." And the president has that type of power. So a lot of people, Secret Service people, now some of them say, "I don't want to be in there and have to do this and have to do that." But some people have sucked up the Kool-Aid so good, and that Kool-Aid tastes so good that they can't think. This is why we have to think. You got governors. They still going forward with the Supreme Court justice nomination. People are still suppressing the vote. They calling people up, telling them if you vote, we're gonna find out that you're a felon. If you vote, we're gonna find out you owe taxes. If you vote, all this type stuff is still going on with the same intensity to slow down voting. I mean, people are getting so many distractions. That's why, as a people, we have to continue to pray, fast, meditate, and dig deeper. What we see on the news, what we see in the media, is coming at us so fast. Don't know what to do. A lot of people don't. But this is a great time to wake up and pinch yourself and say, "Whoa, I'm not gonna fall for the okie doke."
yeah. They do need to wake up though, because a lot of people are still asleep, and some of them don't want to wake up. They just a Trump diehard fan. You know,
Oh yeah.
the people. I don't understand how you can still support somebody when they allowed your family members to die. Because that's exactly what he did, telling them not to cover up. It's going to be okay. The virus is a hoax. You're not going to get it. And then they listen to them. They catch the virus and they die. How can you support somebody like that? They let your
Well,
relatives die and don't
well,
even
when
try to help them, because they they had what you call it, PPOs or whatever it is. They had the stuff to give to the schools and stuff to help support them prevent some of the virus, and they took it away, took the money away from,
Right.
so it's like he don't want to help people. Just let them get the virus, and then he's gonna say, open up the schools. If you don't open up the schools, we're gonna take your money away. So what is that? What is he trying to do? Be a dictator? Well, that is dictatorship.
Yeah. Well, he got love letters from both of the dictators. What that guy out of Korea? He sent him a love letter. Putin sent him. Kim Jong Un. He sent him a love letter. Um, Putin sent him a love letter. So and he felt so good. He always wanted a parade. Man, I want a parade. I want something big. But guess what? When he left that hospital, that was his parade. He did a drive-by around the hospital.
Yeah.
That man loves that attention.
He does. You see, he should have been inside the hospital. Instead, he's exposing his drivers, and all those other people have to be there to protect him. He exposing them to the virus.
Yes. And that's why people have to protect themselves at all times, because we don't know what other people's agenda is. Donald Trump, 46 minus one, our current celebrity president, he said that the herd immunization, which is when you affect the herd will find its own mechanisms for protecting themselves. When you bring a herd, you infect the whole herd, and the herd will build up the antibodies necessary to fight this thing off. Now, think about it. He said that months ago, and many of the others that heard immunization, meaning that if you infect the herd with the virus, the herd will produce its own antibodies that will successfully, defeat the virus. So this just plays along in it, and much of the information that we've been sharing with people, especially on His Cap Time, which always come on all 9 o'clock. Corona action, preparation, training, information, mobilization, empowerment. These are things we have to know. And these are things we have to seek out, not to run around paranoid, but we have to be watchful, and we have to be careful, and we have to pay attention.
Yeah, you do. But thing is, now, you infect a virus. You think if you infect one person, then they become immune to it. Some people get infected and they are allergic to it, and they die. You give a person penicillin. Some people die from penicillin. Some people get healed from it. So you can't put everybody in the same boat.
Well, that's the mindset, survival of the fittest. Trump says, I got good genes. I got good genes. I got good genes. The weaker people, there are people on this planet that believe that the weaker people won't survive. It could be war, it could be famine, disease. Now we got a disease that's out here. Now, if you're not strong enough, and that's what the herd immunization does, or in theory, that's what it does. You infect enough people with it, and guess what? It's going to kill a lot of them off, but guess what? The ones that survive, they're going to be strong.
Nah, I don't believe it. I believe in prevention. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Don't give me that pound when I can take the ounce. No, I'd rather have that ounce.
Well, some people don't want to, a lot of times we take the memo. If somebody told you something, don't go outside, don't do this, give you a little stern warning. But there are many people that will not heed to the stern warning. Okay? They will follow themselves or their own path based on the fact that they don't believe grease is greasy.
Yeah.
They got to get a full demonstration.
Yeah, some of them just don't want to be told what to do.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
their civil rights. You know, this is my liberal right. I can do what I want to do. You can't tell me what to do. You know, some people you just gotta have common sense sometimes. You know, you know,
Common sense just ain't common.
yeah.
Common sense, they ran out of common sense.
That's just like if your mom tell you to do something, you don't want to do what your mom do. You want to do what you want to do. But if you do what your mom said do, you'll come out better. You know,
Common
mom
sense
knows.
when they stopped, it left the room. I mean, yeah, common sense is out of the room. It's no longer factors into the equation.
Yeah, apparently, you know, but I don't know. He's doing I guess he's trying to do that, trying to get his voters, his supporters to vote for him so he can be in the next election. I mean, win the next election. I don't think that's happening. Uh, if it does, something's wrong with somebody. To be
So,
honest, something's
uh,
wrong with
you know,
somebody if they vote him in.
one of the things uh, when you think about our celebrity president, 46 minus one, he didn't elect himself. Okay, he did not elect himself. A
Right.
lot of people stayed home, did not vote, or they voted for him. Okay,
Yeah.
now that's a direct reflection of this country, the United States of America. I know a lot of people were upset. When I talked to whether it be white people, black and brown people that have voted and will vote again for this president, they believe in what is something to do with abortion. They say he's going to make sure we get enough Supreme Court justices on court that will make sure Roe versus Wade gets overturned. They say, guess what? We don't care what else he does. I don't care how many of it heard he infect. We want to make sure that he gets another conservative Supreme Court justice. We want to make sure that he overturns Obamacare, take it off the table. And these
Yeah,
people
and see,
really believe that.
yeah, but see, the thing is with that Obamacare thing, now, Trump's, he's had almost 4 years to give them some health care. He's going to have a plan better, okay? So where is that plan? You know, if you're going to take away this health care from these people, especially right now in the middle of this pandemic, because this virus is going to leave preconditioned uh, preconditions with them. I can't even think of the word right now. Yeah, but they're gonna have these conditions where they say you had this, so you can't get insurance. So Trump gonna take that away from them. He don't have a plan. He had 4 years to come up with a health care plan, and he didn't do it. And people gonna still vote for him. So all of these people who had insurance, you know, people got well. They got checked on for cancer and other things that they weren't able to do because they didn't have health insurance. Now that they have health insurance, they were able to go to the doctor and get some of these things taken care of. And Trump's going to take that away from them in the middle of this pandemic. These people who are getting sick, they won't be able to go to the doctor because Trump don't want them to have health care. That's sad. You know, but yet guess what? He paid $750 in taxes, and guess who's paying his hospital bill? We are.
We
We
are.
are paying his
Yeah.
hospital bill. You know, but yet and still, he don't want anybody else to have health care.
Well, well, one of the things that our current celebrity president, 46 minus one, is a great marketer and promoter. He promotes himself as such a businessman that people say, he's a businessman and he's smart. That's why he only pays 700. I just talked to her brother. That's why he only pays $750. He's smart. Now, people, the next one. He's smart. He's smart. Only reason because he's a smart businessman, he doesn't have to pay what everybody else is paying. So people still cover for him because people like somebody, you know, I think it was Johnson said, especially broke white people, great Americans, they would rather rather feel good about something, even if it hurts them, just so they can keep another man down, a brown man. That's like
Yeah,
they would rather feel good. If you can make them feel good about something, you tell them, "Hey, guess what? You better than they are." They vote for you, even if it hurt them, because they would still feel like as though they were better than a black man. So a lot of racism, a lot of issues, underlying issues, are deeply embedded into the whole American psyche, and that puts us at a position where and then you even have black and brown people that feel the same way. Some say, you know what, this man is overturning all this stuff. Obama, we say Obama didn't do nothing, and he's making sure that women can't get abortions. We want to keep him in the house. We want to keep him in the house. So not only does he mobilize people through fear, he's telling people, hey, you see what's happening in these cities? If you get Biden in there, he's weak on crime. He's going to allow these folks to come into your suburbs, and they're going to take over. They're going to take over. The same stuff, they keep showing that footage. Atlanta's on fire. Minnesota's on, Minneapolis is on fire. All these places are on fire because people have lost the ability to control the masses. So there are people that, this happened back in, I think, the 19, when Woodrow Wilson, they showed Birth of a Nation. They started scaring white people. And when white people got scared, they said, coming into your neighborhood, they're going to take your guns. Right here in Georgia, I think, what's Purdue and Ossoff, one of the second thing that he says, if this liberal socialist gets elected, they're going to take your guns. They're going to confiscate your guns. And that scares people. And when people are scared, they do what? They
they
take
cut
the
it up.
path of resistance.
Yeah, but it's nobody trying to take your gun unless you have a big old assault rifle. That's the only thing they're trying to get off the street. Nothing. Why would
Well,
you need that?
yeah. Well, when you can manipulate people's mind, you don't tell them the truth. You say they're going to take your guns. They don't tell you which, they're just trying to not take your Second Amendment right. They're just saying that you don't need these type guns. Look what they're doing with the police. They're saying they're trying to get rid of the police. They're not trying to get rid of the police. We need the police. We need the police. They're just doing police reform. Police reform is ensuring that the police are educated, prepared, and equipped enough to deal with the population. Okay? That
Exactly.
means a whole lot of more training. Instead of taking that money buying tanks and bazookas and rubber bullets, they would take that money and put it in places to help empower the police and empower the citizenry or the citizens so that they can work together. When police and the community work together, things that happen. That's like trying to defund the fire department. You're not trying to defund it. Just say a bunch of houses start catching on fire and firemen don't put the houses out. A lot of houses start getting destroyed. You still want the fire department. They got to just come up with a better way to put out fires. That's the
Exactly.
only thing that's happening. We're telling the police, we love the police. We need the police. Right now, if something happened to me, the first thing I'm going to do is call 911. We just want the police to show up
Yeah.
and not freak out and kill people.
Yeah. And
And
see,
then they get
my
let
thing,
off.
we do need the police, and they do need training. We need to get those bad apples out of there, because a lot of times people now, they're afraid to call the police because they might end up being killed, or going to
Mm-hmm.
jail when they're the one who called the police. They
Case in
might
point.
end up being beat up. We do need
Oh,
to
yeah.
reform. We don't need to defund. We need to reform. And that's all that people want. They want to reform. They want them to be
Right.
treated right and treat people right. That's all they want. But
Right.
but they trying to scam.
But
Yeah.
but if you look at the politicians, because the way they shape the wordage, they say they want to defund the police. get rid of the police. Now, a lot of these suburbanites and all these folks, get rid of the police, they're gonna start freaking out. When they start taking your guns away, all these things, this is what we call propaganda. Propaganda is being put out. And this is why you gotta do it's black and brown, whites as well, that's looking at this and say they're right. I just talked to a brother. He said, man, they going nuts in these cities. Okay? They
Mm-hmm.
go nuts. Now, this is a black man. He said they're going nuts in these cities. We need law and order. Okay? They might have to call martial law. These are regular people, and this is how they're thinking. They're like, uh, I'm not, I want to be protected. Now, nobody wants to die or get killed in the process. But if you just level with people and told them what's going on, one thing I did admire about uh, Joe Biden uh, was the fact that he said that, he broke it down. He didn't just say, we're going to get rid of the police. We don't need them. That's crazy. He said we need to have police reform. But code words that go out to the masses, defund the police. They about to get rid of the police. Make it right. They're going to take your guns. They're going to take your guns. That freaks people out. And when people get freaked out, they make emotional decisions that are a detriment to themselves, their families, and their communities. Even when it comes down to COVID-19, when people are told that COVID-19 does not exist, mask wearing is for wimps. And this is what this administration put out. They came out bold. We don't wear masks over here, and you see a lot of uh, black, brown, whites, and poor whites, and the uneducated walking around with no mask, no type of personal protection equipment at all. And then when they get sick, when they die, that's when they get the memo.
Mm.
That's when they get the memo. It's so much chaos and disorder right now. People are split, even within households. We see people all the time that's having problems within their household because either the young one or the old one, or the husband or the wife is not obeying certain rules, or not being concerned about the family instead of just being concerned about themselves. I got a right. They can't tell me what to do. They can't tell me what to do. All this type stuff.
Yeah, you're right. It is a lot of chaos out there, but they should be listening. And a lot of people who not wearing these masks, they're listening to Trump. You know, that's the
And we
thing.
have to pay.
They're listening to him, and he's wrong. He's wrong. But telling people not to wear masks, he's not wearing masks, and then he's killing people. Knowing he has the disease and he's gonna kill people. So that's not good at all. And I see you're trying to talk and I'm talking at the same time. Yours is not coming through.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I was listening. I
I
was ask, I was actually talking to my Uber driver.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got you now. I thought your mouth was just moving, and you were talking to me, but I couldn't hear you.
Okay, that's
Oh,
cool.
okay. So let's talk about this voter suppression thing. Um, it is so much of that going on right now. And by the way, last night was the last day. Yesterday, well, midnight last night, really, was the last time you can register to vote. So what we got to do now is make sure you are registered to vote. Make sure you're on the books. So when you go vote, you won't have any problem. So they are still taking names off the books. They're still taking them out. So you want to be able to go vote. You don't want any problems. And early voting, if possible, if you can. But you know what? What I just found out too in Texas, the governor is removing all the drop boxes for the
Oh yeah,
early voting. You know,
except one.
yeah, one per county.
Going there.
You know how big Texas is? Texas
Oh,
is
that's a huge
huge.
county. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
Texas is huge, and they talking about 1 box per county. That's voter suppression right there. Especially look
Right.
how big Houston is. And they
Woo.
gonna have one box. No, that's wrong. That's wrong right there. So we need people to. I wish if I don't know how good it is. If it could, people could just go around collecting ballots from their friends and drop it off in one spot. I don't know if they can do that or not. But to me, that would be a good idea. They might say
Well,
that's illegal.
one of the
All this
things,
fraud.
you know, one of the things that people have to do. One of the things that people have to do is talk to their family, look after their friends, and let them know how this thing is working. Let them know how this thing is being set up. Uh, Encourage people to be proactive. Okay, don't wait until the last minute. We've been talking to people for the last couple of months. Make sure you register to vote. Check your voting status. Okay,
Yeah,
by checking your voting status, you can put yourself in a position so that you can be aware of these things and be proactive. You wait to the last minute, it's gonna be hard. You know,
and
it's not gonna be a good situation.
make sure that you sign everything. Because
Right? You gotta
some
sign it
some
just
of
like this.
some of the ballots
You gotta
already
sign
have
it.
been rejected because they weren't signed. Make sure you sign it. You know, because some people don't think about that. I think it's the second envelope, might be the first one. I don't know. Make sure you sign everything that need to be signed. That's the thing. Look over it
And then
very carefully. Because you
yeah,
don't want anything to keep your ballot from not being counted. You know,
right. And then fill it out just like it's on the card. It's critical because this is why we was telling people we got about 27 days before voting day. Okay.
uh-huh.
Uh, During that time period was that time period to straighten all this stuff out. You can
Yeah,
straighten all this stuff out. You still got time before you go to the polls. If you go, we encourage the people to vote early. The polls are opening up, all that type stuff. We're getting people to vote early. Okay?
yeah,
And check your voting status. You can go to the Secretary of State app in any state and find out your voting status. And then find out the voting status of your family members, friends, all those folks. Every day, I'm checking somebody's voting status, and every day we find out that somebody is not registered. They thought they were registered. They thought they had those stuff and all that stuff, and it wasn't. It's not there. So we encourage people to check your voting status. Don't fall for the okie doke. People are calling people, telling them that, hey, uh, if you don't pay your taxes or you behind on your student loans or anything like that, guess what? You're not going to be able to vote. You're not going to be able to vote. Well, this is propaganda. This is some of the same things that they did back in the 60s to deter black and brown people from voting. So we have to put ourselves in a position so that we keep ourselves aware uh, versus not being aware.
yeah,
And check your voting status. Talk to your family and friends because a lot of people get frustrated. And when we get frustrated, we don't make wise decisions. We put
yeah,
ourselves in a compromised position where we cripple the forward movement of our families and our communities. Uh, so that's going to be critical.
yeah. You're right. And we got. Oh, by the way, it is illegal for someone else to take your ballot to the poll. So you can't do that. But you can take them to the poll, take them to drop it off, but you can't take the ballot itself. And also, you got to make sure you have your voting poll haven't been moved, but they have been changing spots. You go to one place because that's where you've been voting all these years, and all of a sudden they changed it. They've been doing this redistricting as well. So they've done a lot of changing. Closing up voting polls so you can't vote. And guess where a majority of those places at? in the black neighborhood, the Democratic areas. That's where they're closing the places and making it so hard for them to vote, standing in line for hours and hours to vote. But you know what? Take that chair with you. If you're going to vote, take the chair with you. So you can sit there in that line, stand there in that line, sit in the line. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be sitting in that line and voting, waiting for your turn to vote. Don't give up. Take you a sandwich if you have to, but don't give up, because that's what they want you to do. They're trying to deter you from voting. This is our God-given right to vote. A lot of people, the last election, they didn't vote because they got frustrated with Hillary and Trump. So they're not going to vote it out. They didn't know where to go, so they don't vote it out, which means they just put it in Trump's hand. Okay, so we can't have that anymore. Can't have that anymore. Vote regardless. Hopefully you vote for Biden, because what Trump is doing is just messed up. It's just messed up. And they keep saying that Biden and Trump didn't do anything. If you remember predatory lending, when people were losing their houses because, they've been tricked out of it, basically. Obama stopped that. A lot of people, they had to move back home with the other president. I can't even think of his name. Before Obama got in, people are losing their homes, had to move back home. So now they can go and vote. They can vote. They can have their own places and not worry about their homes being taken away from them. Okay, so there's other things that they're doing to suppress your vote, like taking down the mail sorters. They took a lot of those out
Yes.
of the post office. A lot of the mail
Okay.
sorters. So now, the mail is being slowly going to the places that they need to go to, and they're going to be slowly coming out. Okay, so that mail sorting thing at the post office is another form of voter suppression. Because Trump, he put the man in there. He put the man in
Right.
there to slow up the mail so we can't get in there and vote. So make sure you go and vote early if you're going to take it to the post office. Otherwise, take it to the drop box or take it to the voters registration, the secretary, I guess it's the Secretary of State. Take it to that office or wherever, and drop it off if you can't get it to the mailman in time. Okay, because
Right.
that
Well,
is so
well,
important.
well. People have to be proactive, and this is why it's got to be critical that we talk to people within our families and our communities. Because I just actually took my mother's ballot. She's 90 years old. We dropped it in the physical drop box. She didn't want to put it in the mail. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we encourage everybody to vote early. Vote early. That way you're not in panic mode. Most of us already got our decisions made. You know, there are also some other elections. The U.S. Senate. Both those seats are up for grabs. Uh, I was just finished working with a brother that's running for U.S. Senate. It's about 23 people running on one side here in Georgia. Okay, that's a critical election. And then you have Osnauf and Purdue running against each other. Those are
yeah,
two powerful seats, the Senate seats. Uh, so we're encouraging people to vote early enough so that you can work the polls in your neighborhood. Don't have people coming to your neighborhood that don't look like you, think like you, intimidating people, making them feel bad for going out to vote. And our people have to be educated and brought up to speed not to fall for all these okey doke. We freaking out. They're talking about, doing all kind of stuff. But vote early, and your vote does count.
yeah. And they're still looking for poll watchers and poll workers. You know, so
Yeah.
poll
Well,
watchers are
hey,
volunteers.
let me, yeah, but let me put this out. Now, a poll watcher is a volunteer, but a
Yeah,
poll worker can make anywhere between $100 and $200 a day at the polls, working the polls. So work the polls.
yeah, yeah. Work the polls. and you can see who's voting, who's out there trying to intimidate and all that kind of stuff. Because there's gonna be a lot of people out there. It's gonna be a lot of them. So yeah, work the polls. We need as many people out there working the polls as possible, and that was one of the reasons they were closing some of the precincts down because they said they don't have enough poll workers. You know, because in the
Right,
past, normally it's the older people who's working the polls, and now they are the vulnerable people. So you don't want them out there. They don't want to be out there. You know, just in case the virus is lurking around, so we need some people out there to work these polls to protect our older people. You know, take their place for a minute. You know, so get out there and volunteer. You still got time, not necessarily volunteer, but well, if you want to volunteer, the hours are shorter. I'm gonna tell you that already. To volunteer to be a poll watcher,
well,
you know, hours
uh,
are shorter, but the poll worker, you got the longer
right,
hours and you're getting paid for it. So, you know, it's
right.
worth it.
And we can't let voter intimidation. You know, back in the '60s, they told us that it was going to shoot us, they're going to hurt us, they're going to maim us. People are getting calls, prank calls. You're seeing a lot of stuff on social media that's putting people, telling people polling locations are closed. This is why it's critical that people do their own research, do your own due diligence, check and verify that the polling location is open. Don't wait until that day and show up and that place is closed. You're gonna get frustrated and all that type stuff.
Yeah,
So do it now. Do it now. So being proactive is the rule of the day.
yeah, you definitely need to be proactive. And something else I was told too, they're actually putting the wrong address for returning your ballots on those ballots. So if you check your paperwork to make sure they gave you the right address to return your ballot, okay? Because they're doing that too. They everything, every little trick you can. I guess you got insiders, you know, who's trying to suppress the vote. So make sure the correct address is on there, you know, where you return that ballot to, because you don't want to be sending your ballot somewhere and it don't count. Okay, make sure it's in the right spot. So, so that is
Well,
important too.
you know, uh, for everybody out there, we got to do our homework on this one. I mean, we got to do our homework on this one. We can't go to sleep. We can't give up. We can't let the news trick us. I mean, whatever you see on the media, you can't let it trick you into not doing your due diligence and voting.
Yeah, you're right. Because there's a lot out there, and some people I know they're getting tired of it, but you can't. And it's so important. So people that think it's just you voted for the president, but you got these local elections also, and the local people are going to impact your life more so than the national. So you got to remember that too. So all those local people who you got to vote for them too because they're, like I said, impacting your life much sooner than the national. Like what senators, the people gonna be representing you. Uh, Whoever else, I can't even think of all of them right now. But you got other people who gonna be running too, is gonna be on the ballot. So do the local stuff. You got to, because some people say, I ain't worried about this. Trump and Biden, I'm not going to vote for neither one of them. But then you got these local people. But if you got good sense, you be out there voting for Biden. I'm going to tell you that now. But with all this stuff, all these people who lost their homes already, all these people who lost their jobs, and these entrepreneurs had to close shop because of Trump and what he's doing, and you know he ain't doing nothing but feeding him and his friends' pockets. You know, gave them this tax reduction. You know, who's benefiting from it? Him and his friends. You know, who did he put in office to hold these different offices? All his crooked people. And he's talking about he's for law and order. If he's for law and order, why is he hiring all these criminals? You know, That's what I'm looking at. Why is he hiring all these criminals if he's for law and order? He's putting bad people in office to take your money, to take your civil rights away from you, and everything else. So you need to vote. You need to vote. He done put in 190 some judges already. You know,
Right.
he's appointed what is that 198, and he's trying to
Yeah.
get in another one real quick. And all these judges, what are he doing? Putting people in place so when he get out of office, you know what's going to be happening. He's going to have all these judges on his side. Somebody's going to be there to have his back. So you need
Right.
to vote. You need to
Well,
vote.
and you bring a strong point out. See, so many people are, the judges. He's about to nominate, select a third Supreme Court justice even before he leaves. Now,
Yeah.
if he goes into another term, one president will have selected, because he'll get another, at least a one or two more within a 4-year term. So this president, if he gets a second term, has the capability of having 6 people on the Supreme Court, okay? If he does a second term, okay? Now, when you think about that affects, see, when you look at these judges are appointed for almost, life. So that means that your great-great-grandkids and my great-great-grandkids will have a storm on their neck that we could have prevented.
Yeah. And so the judge he's trying to get now will help him to fulfill, his plans. Because you know what he's trying to do, get rid of Obamacare, and ain't no telling what else. He might even try to pass a law that he can be president for the rest of his life. Ain't no telling. And he's going to try to put these judges in place.
Well,
to
remember Reagan wanted to do that. Reagan wanted to make it a thing where a president could do more than 2 terms.
Oh, did he?
The last president to do, I think Franklin Delano Roosevelt did 3 terms, something like that. He did the most terms of any other president. Then they stopped that. Okay?
Yeah.
That was the last president to do more than 2 terms.
Yeah, so because if Trump get in office again, China gonna own the United States.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna own the United States.
Russia
we won't
too.
Be our own independent country anymore.
Oh yes. Well, when we look at what we call American values, what's going on now, and this is where everybody has to look at it. However you look and feel about America is Ronald Reagan said this is one of the last strongholds for freedom. Now, a lot of people, they assume they're getting freedom because they're telling people Joe Biden is a socialist, he's a communist, liberal, all these terms, even in our local politics. When you look at the U.S. Senate races, socialist, liberal ideas, all these things that make it look like America is weak. And the people in America are weak. Well, what we have to do, the people have to take the country back. And that means that we have to vote and we have to hold people accountable, these politicians. Right now, if we had the right politicians in office, guess what?
What?
That Supreme Court justice, it would be enough support to make sure that that nominee doesn't get through. But because we got a lot of weak politicians on the Republican and the Democrat side, guess what?
Well, you know what? Right now we got senators who are sick with COVID. So I don't think it's gonna be a slight problem.
That one senator said, there's a Senator Jones, Roy Jones, or something like that. He said he's gonna go he's a Republican. He said he'll be there if he got to put on a spacesuit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So those folks are dedicated and getting their way.
Yeah. See,
We got to have people, I think, I'm trying to think, one of the last strong House of Representatives that we had was John Lewis. But right now, in the U.S. Senate, unless you made that phone call and told them not to, not to go through with her resignation, with her, indoctrination to be the next Supreme Court justice, that's a battle we lost, So we got a chance to turn this thing around.
Yep. So everybody
You got to
needs
look
to
at
call
the
their
ballot
senators right now. Well, tomorrow morning.
yeah, right now.
You call them tomorrow, email them, let them know that they shouldn't be doing it because Obama had 10 months and they wouldn't let him. And we talking about less than 30 days and they trying to put one in. That's not wrong. That's hypocrisy all the way. Trump can't have everything his way. So we only have a couple more minutes left. Literally, literally a couple more minutes. So my thing is get out and vote. Protect yourself. Make these phone calls to your senators. Of course, with the virus and stuff, call your family members and let them know that you love them. Zoom them, FaceTime them, Facebook them, and whatever. Stay away unless you can cover up. You want to protect yourself and protect your loved one. You might have the virus and don't know it, and you go see grandma and you're giving it to her. You don't want that to happen. So protect yourself and protect your loved ones. Vote. Protect your right to vote and get out there and vote. And make sure everybody else get out there and vote. Make sure you are registered and your poll hadn't been moved. Okay? Because they're doing that. They're doing
Check your voting status. Check your voting status. It's up to you to do that. You can't wait for somebody else to come in your home, your community, and check your voting status for you. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Yeah, you can go to mysos.ga.gov and check it. There's your voters page. sos.ga.gov. So check your voters page to make sure everything is in order. And if you haven't done the census, please do so because that determines where you're going to get your senators from, where you're going to get money into your communities. That is so important. Your representatives are determined by how many people in each area. So register, not register to vote, but do the census. That is so important, okay? That is so important. Last word, Reggie, because we got to go.
Vote, vote, vote. Check your voting status. Stay up to speed. Keep your family up to speed, and we can win this battle.
Okay. So until then, we're going to see you guys next week. Have a good one. Keep your thumbs up.